Good afternoon, guys. Welcome to another episode of SU Studies with You. Today we'll be covering the topic of decimals, fractions, and percents. The three are cousins, guys. They're identical. And I'll show you how to convert one to another. Alright guys, so what I'm talking about is, let's put it in perspective, 5/8. What is 5/8? 5/8 is another number that could be illustrated as a decimal notation and could also be illustrated as a percent. Let's see how or what it entails. What is a fraction, guys? A fraction is, believe it or not, a lazy division problem, guys. So somebody said, I don't want to divide 5 divided by 8. And they come up with a creative way of writing it like a fraction. But guess what? Now I actually want you to divide it. 5 is your numerator, goes inside of the box. 8 is your denominator, goes outside, guys. So you put a decimal because there's not enough digits. Allowing that decimal allows us to put as many zeros as we want to. Does 8 go into 50? Sure, guys, right? The closest would be 6. 6 times 8 would be 48. We subtract. Remainder would be 2. Bring down the next 0. Does 8 go into 20? Yep, for sure it will fit twice, which would be 16. Left over 4. Bring down the last 0. Remember, those zeros, I just made it up. You don't have to use those many. Does 8 go into 40? Yep, exactly 5. So what is that? 5/8 is equivalent to 0.625 or 625 thousands. That's another topic, guys, how to pronounce the numbers correctly. Remember, the first digit is tenths, the second one is hundreds, and the third one is thousands. So 625 thousandths. Put the THS sound at the end, guys. So 5/8 is equivalent to a decimal notation, which now let's look at the word percent. If you see it in Spanish, por ciento, they're asking us to multiply or move the decimal twice to the right. Why? Because your decimal equivalent, we're really multiplying it by 100. I don't want you to waste your time, guys. Save it. It's valuable. All we have to do is move the decimal twice to the right. And it's doing that equivalent of converting it into a percent. So 5/8 is nothing more than 0.625, which is nothing more than 62.5%. So what I'm trying to tell you guys, or proof here, that if I give you a decimal value, let's put 0.125, that decimal value could be written as a percent and at the same time could be written as a fraction. The percent would be the easy method. Why? Because we just move it to the right and there you go. That's simple. 1.25 or 125 thousandths is nothing more than 12.5%. Fraction, if you read the number correctly, that's going to guide us how to make it a fraction, guys. So it's 125 what? Thousandths. Yes, I think I heard somebody in the background. Not just kidding, guys. So it's 125 over 1,000. That's pretty much the answer. If you go back to reducing fractions and simplifying in those videos, we have to reduce by what? Quarters. How many quarters in $1.25? 5. How many quarters in $10? 40. It's simplified, but not to its full extent. We could still divide by 5 and taking away the greatest common factor, it became 1/8. So 1/8 is the same thing as 0.125, which is the same thing as 12.5%. And last example, what happens if we have the percent? And let's put 0.25%. It's a decimal, guys. It's a quarter of a percent. How do we make that a decimal? How do we make that a fraction? So let's start looking. Let me get a little bit more space, guys. Sorry about that. Awesome. So we're looking at 0.25%. We have to move it backwards twice to the left to make the decimal equivalent. So the decimal is right here. I could put a 0 or not. It's up to you guys. We still have to move it twice to the left, which would equal 0.025 or 25 10,000ths. Yes, this is tenths, this is hundreds, this is thousands, this is 10,000ths, guys. Sounds good? Awesome. How do I write that as a fraction? Exactly what you're looking at. So we will write the number, which is 25 over 10,000. We would have to reduce that number by quarters. That's an easy way to reduce your numbers. 25 goes into 25 once, 25 goes into 100, 400 times. So that would give us an equivalent of 1 over 400. 1 over 400 is equal to 0.0025, which is equal to 0.25%. So here, if they give you fractions, guys, those fractions could be converted to decimals. If they give you a decimal, that decimal could be converted to a fraction. If they give you a percent, it could be converted to either way, guys. And let me give you a bonus. What happens when you have like a percent in a fraction format? Example, let's put 1/5 of a percent. Either we could convert it to a decimal, or I'll show you a shortcut how to make it really fast into a fraction. Here, if you remember the topic of dividing, 1/5 needs to be divided by 100. That's pretty much what's going on to get rid of the percent sign. If you remember how to multiply and divide fractions, guys, we could put an invisible 1 underneath the 100, and we convert it to a multiplication problem, which entails to flip it over, write the reciprocal, which became 1 over 100, which is equal to 1 over 500. So in other words, you just write the zeros to the denominator. 1/5 of a percent is nothing more than 1/500. We could see it in this example, 0.25 of a percent. I even said it's a quarter of a percent. What did I end up doing? Adding 2 zeros to the right side. And that's pretty much the shortcut, guys. Here, you're stuck either dividing the fraction or making it a decimal. How? By dividing. So 1 divided by 5, we put a decimal, you put a 0. 5 goes into 10, at least 0.2 twice. So this is equal to 0.2 of a percent. It's still a percent, guys. We would have to move it twice to the left to make it a decimal equivalent. So 0.002 or 2 thousandths is the same thing as 1 over 500, or is the same thing as 1/5 of a percent. I hope this video helped, and we'll be on the lookout for more videos, guys. Stay safe. See you soon. Goodbye, guys.